More people watched Alex Eala's post-match press conference following a defeat than Aryna Sabalenka and Carlos Alcaraz put together. Furthermore, the WTA has never fully recovered from what that figure showed. More than 100,000 views on official streaming services. Eala's news conference attracted that. World number 1 Sabalenka and ATP star Carlos Alcaraz both polled between 15,000 and 30,000 on the same day. The same afternoon, Eala defeated the top names in the sport after losing a first-round match. There is no interest about that one data point. The tennis establishment was divided along this fault line, and those aftershocks are still being felt as of March 3, 2026. This is the tale of how Alex Eala, ranked 31st in the world with 1,665,667 in career prize money, became the most powerful figure in women's tennis from a commercial standpoint, and why journalists, analysts, and former Grand Slam winners are publicly criticizing the WTA's handling of that information.
Obviously not to this extent, and I think the ceiling that Alex Eala has is obviously that much higher. And I'm going to bring in a little boxing here because my dad wanted me to be a boxer, but I chose tennis. But Manny Pacquiao.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game, and alongside Roger Federer, he actually had more pride.
January 21st, 2026 was the day the system broke. Melbourne Park, Court 6. Alexandra Eala faced Alicia Parks in the Australian Open's opening round. At the time, Eala was ranked outside of the top 40 and was placed on one of the smaller outer courts. Every major tennis commentary station, including Lytics, CourtScope, and TennisCitics, has replayed what transpired. Court 6 was never designed to accommodate the thousands of supporters, many of whom carried Filipino flags. Walkways were rendered impassable. The queues lasted more than an hour. The audience was too big. The court was inappropriate. Additionally, seasoned tennis writer Ben Rothenberg did not submit a standard match report after evaluating the situation. He said that Eala had been crowned the most well-liked player in women's tennis by the cheers of the crowds. That statement set off a chain reaction, and the official answer from the Australian Open didn't help either. In a post on X, the AO account acknowledged what they described as a learning curve and pledged to return strong the following year. It was an acknowledgement that they had totally misjudged the gravitational pull of a 20-year-old from the Philippines, not a denial or a defense. Speaking on Tennis Channel, Lindsay Davenport and Martina Navratilova advanced it. Eala should have been on a big show court from the beginning, according to both. The 18 Grand Slam singles titles won by Navratilova didn't hold back. The enormous Filipino crowd need a space big enough to accommodate them. The argument over scheduling had started.
So I think that if Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court. I mean, she could be rolling in it.
However, this is what transpired after that. Since I didn't win the match, Alicia Parks has a scoreline of 0-6, 6-3. 6-2. And the controversy really took a severe turn in the press room that followed. Those 100,000 press conference views were seen by the WTA. The institutional machinery began to move when tournament directors noticed them. In response, Axetics, CourtScope, and Tennis released a barrage of video essays with identical titles. Tennis experts argue that Alex Eala is the most well-known player according to the WTA. They made a compelling case. The meritocratic character that distinguishes professional sport from content creation was being jeopardized by the WTA's hype-based scheduling. It was difficult to reject the figures they provided. Eala's Instagram engagement rate ranges from 15 to 20, compared to the WTA top 10 players' average of 3 to 5. Critics claimed the WTA had begun basing scheduling decisions on those figures rather than rankings, since she was not only outperforming, but outperforming by a factor of 4 to 6.
I remember last year when she beat Iga Swiatek, and she kind of did it with a lot of grace and humility, and it was really, for me, it was terrific to see her take that match and watch her play after that and watch her try to continue to progress, because I like her game. Obviously, she wants to get better than where she is now.
At that point, Aryna Sabalenka joined the discussion. According to reports, Sabalenka described Eala as the main attraction for future excursions. The precise framing turned into a flashpoint. The WTA faced a barrage of criticism for what they perceived as letting a world number 31 overshadow many Grand Slam winners. Whether Sabalina's remarks were meant to be an observation, a compliment, or something else entirely, the community of tennis experts saw them as evidence that the story around Eala had become uncontrollable. That tension reached a breaking point when it was decided to put Eala in a marquee night session versus Jasmine Paolini at the 2026 Dubai Tennis Championships Center Court. The top stars in the sport are given those slots. Eala came in at number 31. Experts described it as an overt attempt to take advantage of her fan base rather than a prize obtained through the draw.
In women's tennis right now.
Yes.
Is she bigger than Sabalenka? Is she bigger than Coco?
Dude, it's crazy. She's having the same effect that Fonseca was having, like, on the men's side last year in Miami.
It's like Fonseca, but I think it's bigger than Fonseca.
It is, yeah, it is.
Like, the Doha, like, crowds were insane for her last week.
Yeah.
Correct.
She's definitely one to watch, obviously because she's so good, but just for the atmosphere. You want to tune into her matches just to see what it's like on the court.
There's got to be, like, a little jealousy maybe from some of the women, that girls coming in, she's not top 10.
The fact that Eala went out and defeated Jasmine Paolini altered the conversation, at least temporarily. Paolini was ranked 8th globally. Dubai Center Court. Eala prevailed. As a result, her competitive resume began to carry actual weight in a discussion that had up until that point mostly focused on metrics and optics. Take a look at what the record truly reveals. IA defeated ranked number 2 EGT in March 2025 while competing as a wild card at the Miami Open, a WTA 1000. In the same competition, Madison Keys came in at number 5. That September, she advanced to the semifinals. At the 2025 US Open, she defeated Panna Udvardy to win her maiden WTA 125 championship in Guadalajara. She defeated 15th-ranked Clara Tolson to achieve her maiden Grand Slam main draw victory. Eala is 3-2 against opponents in the top 10. That figure is frequently cited by her supporters. They claim that this isn't a Cinderella tale because it was made for this. There is a pattern. However, the skeptics are equally quick to point the finger at the opposing viewpoint. The 0-6-26 loss to Coco Gauff in Dubai and the 0-6 first set against Alicia Parks. Every breakthrough is shadowed by this inconsistency. Martina Navratilova provided the most straightforward analysis of the entire circumstance. Navratilova characterized Eala as a clever lefty who skillfully employs variety prior to the 2026 Indian Wells Open. It sounds generous, and it is in certain respects. However, Navratilova didn't end there. She described serve as a major weakness, stating that in order to make up for her little build and increase the impact of her game at the top level, she needs to serve and kick more forcefully. The WTA's biggest draw, according to an 18-time Grand Slam champion, has a serve that isn't fit for the position. It's not a write-off. That's a roadmap. However, it's also a piece of information for tennis experts. The difference between a number 1 position and the most well-known label is more than just a figure on a leaderboard. It's a serve. Physical development is what it is. Now is the moment.
Week after week, as she, has done well and established herself as a really good player on tour, they all come out to support her. And so I think we saw that in Australia when it was kind of overcrowded. They put her on too small of a court. We saw it here. You can hear it from the hotel. You can hear the crowd roaring, especially at night. So it's incredible.
This is the detail that completely changes the situation. Alex Eala was greeted at Nike World Headquarters in Oregon on March 3, 2026. Nike, the most well-known sports company in the world, put a 20-year-old with $1,665,667 in career prize money on the wall of the hallway where new photos of EA were on display. This wall is designated for what Nike refers to as its greatest players. Not 5, not 10, not 1,665,000. Over 10 million has been earned by the average WTA top 10 player. In women's tennis, his commercial status has already surpassed her competitive earnings by a wide margin. As part of the #MyMiloStory campaign, Milo Philippines formally introduced Eala as their newest champion ambassador on February 22, 2026, alongside athletes like EJ Obena. This campaign portrayed Eala not only as a tennis player, but also as a national icon, a product of grassroots Philippine sports culture, and something greater than rankings. This arc has a name in the world of tennis specialists. It's known as the Raducanu therapy. Emma Raducanu became the most talked about player in the world almost immediately after her 2021 US Open run. Eala's progress may be stifled by the intense media attention surrounding her, since she is now carrying the expectations of an entire nation into every match, according to detractors who point out that the media machine rushed past her performances. What the WTA is discreetly constructing challenges that worry. Driven solely by the Eala impact, serious talks are taking place regarding holding a WTA event in Manila. With Eala as the center court anchor and a market of more than 100 million people ready to be ignited, analysts describe it as a potential commercial explosion. Eala is being promoted by the WTA through more than just Instagram interaction. It is a geographic strategy based on the presence of a single player.
And I mean, it's you could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through. Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest.
However, strategy is irrelevant to the scoreboard. The sunshine swing of 2026 is here. Eala has 390 ranking points to protect as the 31st seed going into Indian Wells. The points from her 2025 Miami semifinal, where she defeated the world's second and fifth-ranked players back-to-back as a wild card. The ranking was based on those points. The most well-known label at the moment is based on those ideas. A possible rematch with Coco Gauff, who defeated Eala 0-6, 2-6 in Dubai, is set up by the draw. Tennisitics, Courtscope, and Asalytics are keeping an eye on things. Navratolova's prescription is still in effect. The fake news ecosystem, the made-up accusations, the made-up Linda Fruhvirtova trash girl statements, the made-up Rafael Nadal warnings, all continue to run alongside every actual outcome, clouding the conversation around every victory and every defeat. The institutional wager has been made by the WTA. The portrait has been hung by Nike. The initiative was started by Milo. Ben Rothenberg captured the crowd's applause. Martina Navratilova stated that the serve is still lacking, while Aryna Sabalenka referred to Eala as the main draw. With 390 points on the line and a heated debate awaiting her response, Alexandra Eala, a 20-year-old number 31 crafty giant killer national symbol, is set to take the court in Indian Wells. Whether Eala is the most well-known player in the WTA is not the question that every tennis analyst and organization is keeping an eye on. The question is whether this moment will go down in history as the day the sport's commercial aspirations ultimately surpassed its competitive reality, or if the most well-known player ends up becoming the best.